Well, hello, everyone who's able to join us. Thank you so much for hopping on this evening. Definitely a little rainy here in D.C., so a nice little evening to hop online and learn a little bit about young mothers and our relaunch, as well as hopefully get to know a little bit more about each other and connect over the call. So on behalf of Young Mothers, Inc., welcome. My name is Brooke. I am the programs coordinator here at YMI, as we like to call it sometimes. And I am here and beyond excited to introduce you all to our founder, Camille, and host a discussion around motherhood, entrepreneurship, and the starting of YMI. So I don't want to steal Camille's thunder, but do want to give just a little bit of background on the org before we get started. Young Mothers is a 501c3 that was founded in 2013, working towards its mission of educating, mentoring, nurturing, and supporting young mothers to become self-sufficient for themselves and their families. We do this through both virtual and in-person programs right now, spanning topics like financial literacy, home ownership, to personal wellness, and the importance of you time. This first session is a part of YMI's Just Listen campaign, created to provide an open platform for mothers and women to share their experiences, challenges, and just overall advice that they might have for each other on life and keeping the balance. We have been revamping our offerings over the past couple months, and so we're super, super excited to share that with all of you. A great place to catch everything that's going on with us and our future upcoming events is on our social handles. So on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, our handle is Young Mothers, Inc. So you can definitely give us a follow and stay up to date on everything that we've got going out on our social handles. And our new website is www.youngmothersinc.org. So that is also a great resource for you guys and a place where you can subscribe to our newsletter to stay up to date on everything that we've got going on up here in the coming couple months and year. I will also, if you guys feel inclined, if this is something that resonates with you after the discussion, I will include the donation link to our donor box site, and any and all support is really appreciated and helps us continue to do our mission day in, day out. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Kamille Bundy. She is our founder. She is a Prince George's County native and a government and financial consultant. She is a mother of some beautiful children by day and an entrepreneur by night. So Kamille, welcome. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us this evening. And I'd like to just start off by having you share your story and your background relating to your experience as a young mother and eventually what kind of led you to creating YMI.
Thank you, Brooke. I'm sorry. I'm like trying to fix this, and I want to make sure it's perfect. So, yes, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be giving this opportunity to everyone to just learn more about Young Mothers, Inc. and to just really be a part of all the hard work. So I want to really give a thank you to all of our volunteers, to Brooke, to Claire, the board. Everybody's been really pushing through for the relaunch and for all of the great programs and everything that we have in store for everyone. So my story, I would say, is unique just because what we are, basically it started from just really wanting to just give an opportunity to other mothers just like me. I started when I didn't think that this was something that I wanted to do. I really didn't know what I wanted to do with, I would say, just my life in general. So it was just really difficult for me to not have resources, not have support, and not really have that time, I would say, just to figure out my life. I didn't have that opportunity. So I think for me it was just really trying to figure out everything. I'm sorry, can somebody mute somebody has, I can hear something in the background, sorry. Can everybody mute their video? Okay. Sorry, can you hear me? Okay. So, yeah, it was just, for me, it was really not having that support system at home. It was me having to be in relationships. So the first relationship that lasted 4 years, it was a domestic violence relationship. It lasted 4 years, and it wasn't really positive for me in terms of mental health and me really trying to raise my daughter at the time. It was difficult. I thought that I had family that would support me, and that wasn't the case either. So just trying to really get a grip on that. I got pregnant when I was in school. So in college, I was in Atlanta, having a good time, and then it wasn't a good time anymore. So life happened, and at that time, I had went to school for fashion design because I just thought I was going to be a fashion designer. But then I got pregnant and had to come back home, and I really I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a job. I wasn't financially stable, and there were no resources for me to be able to go to and get the support that I felt like I needed because I was a new mom and I was 19. So I really didn't have any idea of where I wanted to go as far as career-wise. So it was a struggle, and from then, I just was still trying to really put my life back together. But then I had to stay with my mom. And, I mean, I know if anyone who can relate has had to stay with someone, it's difficult. And then add the fact that you have to have a child to look after and care for. There were fights. I got into a lot of fights with my mom about stuff, and I thought I was grown, so I wanted to date. And I wanted to hang out, and that just wasn't the case. So she wasn't having it. So she ended up putting me out. I had to stay with a family member, and it was like one bad situation after another. So I didn't have family support, so I was relying on a guy to help me financially and do things for me, and I ended up in a very bad relationship. I was, hit, punched, spit on. It was not a good situation, but I had to learn what healthy relationships were. I didn't know what that was either. So it was a challenge, and I knew that once my daughter turned a certain age, I think she was like 4 or 5, and once I realized, okay, now she can see what's going on. She can actually recall this and actually maybe see, be able to tell other people or internalize that and end up doing some of the things that I did. So I didn't want her to make those mistakes, and I didn't want her to see me in that situation. So I just started really trying to put the pieces of my life back together. So
thank you for sharing that. It's definitely quite a story. And I mean, thinking about all of the different factors that I'm sure many young mothers can feel as though they're drowning and trying to figure out. I mean, your education, what it is that you want to do with a career, how to support yourself financially, having a network if it's not a family member, who is that person that you can go to for advice on everything, but let alone rearing a child for the first time. What were some of the resources, or what are some resources that you think would you have liked to have had, or that could have helped you in this situation now looking back?
I wish that I would have had I would say resources like Young Mothers Inc., who gives that nurturing and that support and helps women, young moms, become self-sufficient. So I would want not just someone to give me money, but teach me financial literacy, teach me how to save, and teach me how to own things like ownership and being an entrepreneur. I wish that I had those type of resources, those type of people that could share that information with me, and also just be a mentor. Like, I don't feel like I had any mentors that I could think of. I had people that helped me along the way, but I don't feel like I had someone to say, okay, let me bring you under my wing and let me show you the do's and the don'ts. And I think just being a mom in general, you really don't know if you're doing it right. I tell my children all the time, I'm like, when I first, had a child, I had to call the doctors and say, hey, I'm putting my daughter on insurance. And it was weird at 19 because I'm like, oh, my God, like, I'm saying that I have a child, and I'm 19. I haven't really accomplished anything. So I think I wish that I would have had someone to just not really hold my hand, but just kind of show me the do's and the don'ts and, what happens if you make this mistake. Because I'm the kind of person, I have to show me the end result. I need to know what happens if I mess up. So just having that support and that kind of one-on-one, someone I could relate to would have been helpful.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, and I think that is probably one of the most valuable things about young mothers. I think, we've been able to gather a lot of resources to expel to different groups who need it in certain topics, whether that is home ownership or financial literacy, whatever that may be. But I would say probably one of the most valuable things is assumingly the community that would come by having a bunch of mothers together, some that have been through the process, some that are brand new, but being able to share those experiences and those perspectives has got to be helpful. What would you imagine your experience like, or how do you think it might have been a little bit different had you had that community sense, or someone to tell you about how to navigate education while being a mother?
I would say had I had the resources that we provide, or had I had resources to just really help me along the way, I would be farther along in life. I would say financially, mentally, emotionally, I think that I would be able to do more and be able to be capable of doing a lot more for my children. I feel that having a support system and having a solid mental and emotional support system, it makes you be able to do things a lot, I would say, more consistently. I would be more consistent. I think I would. It took me 10 years to get my bachelor's. So, and I know normally it's like 4. It took me 10 years. So I think that those additional 6 years that I spent on going to work and trying to find daycare and all of that mental stress and that emotional stress, I wouldn't have had a lot of those obstacles, and I would have gotten things done and been a lot further on, and I wouldn't have struggled. I feel like I struggled a lot just because I didn't have that support. So
definitely, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, just having exponential more responsibilities than the average 19-year-old will obviously probably put you behind as far as being able to do the education and have the money to not only take care of yourself, but, your family as well. And, a big thing about young mothers, it seems, is that, I listen to another podcaster who says in order to be fit to serve, in order to serve others, you must be fit to serve. If you're not in a right mental state, or you're not able to emotionally bear a lot of things that are going on in your life, how are you then able to impart what's a healthy mental state or what's a healthy way of living on your child, right?
Yeah.
So what would you say your mental state was during this transition, you trying to find yourself? What was that like for you kind of on a day-to-day level, mentally and emotionally?
So day-to-day, I would say wake up and probably, so here's one really, I would say mentally distraught situation. I'll walk you through it. So my daughter, she cried a lot. So she cried really bad, and she could have had colic. I'm 19, so I don't know what that is. I haven't been educated on what that even means. I haven't read any books about it, wasn't taught any of that. So she would just cry through the night, and I wouldn't know why. You couldn't soothe her or anything. So that was really, that would be depressing. And I could have been depressed, but I wasn't educated on mental health, so it was just tough. I would say just constantly lost, constantly not really knowing what the next day will look like as far as trying to better myself. So I would get jobs that made like $9 an hour, $8 an hour, and I would think that that's okay, but back then it wasn't enough for me because I needed to buy Pampers and I needed to buy a lot of a lot of things for my daughter that I couldn't afford. So I had to actually depend on the government to give me money. And that's like looking for money from, you know, just depending on a resource that we really shouldn't be having to depend on. I think that that's kind of what my day-to-day was. And then having to ask, you know, my boyfriend at the time or family and friends, it's not something, I wasn't proud of myself. And I didn't like who I was having to do that. So I would say the day-to-day was being lost, feeling insecure, feeling like you don't have anybody around to help you or no one understands where you're coming from. Definitely a lot of emotional stress and depression.
Yeah, I can only imagine, I'm sure. And that, you know, thinking about it in the current situation that we find ourselves in now with this pandemic, you know, single mothers are hit the worst for COVID-19. They're the ones that are most affected by it. Women with children are one of the most vulnerable populations affected by this. Not only do they often bear the majority of the responsibility for their children, but especially within low-income populations, they end up being the breadwinners of the household. Specifically in, I believe, the D.C. area and maybe nationally, 72% of African-American women are the breadwinners of their households. And so, you know, single mothers are additionally most likely to be working in the labor force. So they're facing high-risk work environments if they're deemed essential, or they're facing serious threats to their income and their employment if they're deemed non-essential. So, you know, not to mention while they're trying to figure out their income situation and there's anxieties and, you know, emotional stress around that, but there's no child services really that are open at this point. So add on to that uncertainty about your employment and providing for your household, the fact that, you know, you may be helping your kids and facilitating their education now at home the whole day. So, I mean, it really does kind of seem in many regards as though this problem is not exacerbated by this pandemic, but, you know, it's clear to see that our government maybe still doesn't have the resources to be able to give all of these, you know, women and individuals in these tough situations all of the resources that they need. And that really just kind of makes it clear how much and how important organizations like Young Mothers are right now and in the future. I'm curious, you know, it makes me wonder, what is your vision, or what do you see YMI's role being in the next year, helping women who may be really heavily affected by this pandemic?
Yeah, I would say we are heavily involved and invested in supporting young mothers who've lost their jobs due to COVID. I would say that's really, to me, it's a very big challenge, and it's a very big issue in the country, and it upsets me because I feel like the situation is bigger than us. It happens all the time and every day. Some people haven't even gotten the money that they were supposed to get as far as unemployment, and it is very bothersome to me because we are put in a situation where if I'm going to get more money not working, I'm not going to work. I mean, I feel like that's just the normal, that's a basic thought process from someone. If I'm making $8 or $9 an hour and I have an opportunity to make $1,000 a week, I'm not going to continue my job of making $9 an hour. So I think we're not, our community is not educated as far as financial literacy and a lot of the other challenges. And we're put in situations where we are having to depend on the government, and it's like that's no other option. That's a no-brainer. If I'm getting $8 or $9 an hour every, you know what I mean, and making what, $300 or $400 a week, or maybe less than that, I'm going to choose to get $1,000 a week for 3 or 4 months. So our plan is to support those women who, once that money runs out, and I think it ended, July 31st, we've created an opportunity and a campaign for young mothers who've lost their jobs due to COVID-19, where we're supporting them with daily essentials and giving them the opportunity to learn more about financial literacy and how to save, and really putting them in situations and setting them up for self-sufficiency. So we are, I would say, one of the front runners now, I think, in my opinion, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to be the cheerleaders for women and creating opportunities for them to be self-sufficient.
Yeah, very much aligned with, you know, your takeaways maybe from your experience as a young mother, and not feeling like you were able to be an agent for your own cause in many ways, feeling like you were pulled to be dependent on all these other factors. It's great to see young mothers having that as their mission, really pushing that forward. And I know we're really excited to see the mission through. I think this year specifically will be a time when we can really spread a lot of help and resources. It's amazing to hear you talk about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. So we got 2 donations. 2 people donated, so I'm super excited. So our campaign goal is $500. So on donorbox.org/Young Mothers Inc., we have a campaign up. It shows you where your $10 would go. So any amount will help and support the cause and support the campaign. So we're excited. We got 2 donations. So I think the donor box link is in the messaging, and it's on the Facebook Live for anyone who's interested in supporting. So.
Yes, it will definitely go a long way. And you'll be getting a follow-up email as well with all the information as well, so you can check out the links to our donation if you want to share it, or just kind of check out our stuff. It's cool to see you now, Camille, talk about the opportunities that are coming up with young mothers and see the smile on your face when you get to explain it a little bit. And I'm curious, you know, after fostering this you know, entrepreneurial child, this inner power, you know, this platform that you've created that leverages your skills and your vision and your passions that you can give to the world, kind of reflecting back now that you have this that is yours and your project and your way to kind of impact lives, what is your mental state now, kind of having that experience under your belt and having something that is yours and yours to pursue?
I would say it's a great feeling, and I feel like as women and as moms, people always see us as a mother. So once we have children, or I think honestly before, just this world to me is just a very masculine world. So we're looking to just bear children and be housewives and raise children, and I feel like as women, me personally, I'm much more than that. I feel like women, we take on a lot. So we're teachers, we're nurses, we're doctors. I mean, I think that we kind of encompass a lot, and we're so powerful. So I would say that's just the entrepreneur part is the most important part to me, because it creates opportunity, and I'm so excited about opportunities. So even if it's a small opportunity, just being able to have that opportunity or that door that's open. And even if it's a little crack, I'm like, yep, I'm walking through it. I don't care what's going on. Right now, I'm doing so many different things personally for me. Just not with, I would say, entrepreneur, just learning new things. I love learning. So if I can be on a webinar and learn something, if I can take some classes about LinkedIn and how to optimize that, or fundraising, since I support fundraising, I think that I love to learn. I love to teach too. So, well, let me clarify. I don't want to be in a classroom teaching, but I think that being able to just share information with other people and showing people how things work, and I'm really big on financial literacy too. So right now I'm focused on learning about investments and insurance, because that's really big, and I want to get certified in that. So I would say what for me is just really learning everything. I want to know everything about everything. That's probably going to be hard to do, but I want to know a little about everything at least. So that's important to me, and sharing that information to others and educating others. So
yeah. Yeah, how very cool to be able to say that, you know, you've propped yourself up in a position where now you have the leniency with your schedule or with your finances to be able to pursue those extra things, right, that aren't necessarily your main way of getting money, but it's something that you want to do to better yourself and to make yourself a more balanced woman, more balanced person, and then be able to disseminate that to other people and see those moments of self-discovery within them. It's got to be a pretty cool thing to see. And so we've got actually a bunch of ladies on the call who have had those kind of self-discoveries themselves and are running really awesome businesses and, you know, kind of putting their stuff out into the world. And we want to definitely shout all of you guys out who are attending and doing awesome things in the world for yourselves and your families. Would you like to give the shout-outs, Camille, or would you like I?
I can maybe do one half and maybe you want to do the other. It's up to you.
Perfect. Yeah. You can take it away.
Yes, I'm super excited. So we have a couple people that one was a previous board member. So I'm so excited. She's actually one of the vital instruments in supporting Young Mothers, Inc., even when we were literally 2 or 3 board members. Her name is Tanya Renee, and she's with Tanya Renee Management. So she helps you turn your entrepreneurial and event dreams into reality. So she's my friend. So thank you so much, Tanya. You donated. I'm so, so happy. We also have LaShawn Bird with the Queen Slayer, so it's an eyelash, or I think it's microblading and eyelash. So I pointed her out as well because she was one of, so we had a domestic violence event 2 years ago. It's called My Story, My Choice. And LaShawn was one of the participants, and I still keep in contact with her. And it's interesting because I didn't know that she was one of the participants until I messaged her. I was just thinking, I was like, let me message her today to see how she's doing. We hadn't spoken in a while, and she's one of the women on the call too. So hi, LaShawn. I'm super excited that you're on and you're supporting and still following Young Mothers, Inc. And we have someone else, so I'm super excited. Her name is Michelle Chavez. She's also, let me tell you, okay. So I'm excited about this because 7 years ago when we first started in Young Mothers, Inc., she was our first volunteer. So literally it was just me and her doing the day-to-day. She was doing everything. So blessed, so happy. Thank you, Michelle, for being a part and supporting. So she has a nonprofit called Mothers Helping Mothers, Inc., and it's a nonprofit that assists and supports teenage mothers and their children. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do you want to take it away, Brooke, or do you want me to continue?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I can finish the second half if we want. That's awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. We also have Brianna Gibson with Pathways to Housing DC, which seems like just such an amazing organization, transforming individual lives by ending homelessness and supporting recovery for people with disabilities. Thank you for what you do, Brianna, and thanks for joining us today. And we have Yvette Lynch with us as well with Roses Incorporated. So thank you for joining us as well. And last but certainly not least, we have Dee Sewell, and I hope I got that last name right. Dee Sewell with DWS Business Solutions, giving insights, resources, and products for anything that you guys might want business-wise. If you have some entrepreneurial pursuits, maybe we can check them out. But thank you guys for joining us. We're really excited to have you and all these awesome minds together for a cool discussion, hopefully. Yeah. We will have a Q&A a little bit later. I have a few more questions to ask Camille, but if you guys can stick around for that, I'd love to put all of our minds together for a chat. I think it would be a good little session. So try and stick around if you can. So I guess kind of transitioning to the business side of things, I definitely want to ask you to share just your experience with this sort of brainchild of yours and this passion that you had. Can you kind of take us through the process of the start of Young Mothers Incorporated, from maybe when it started as an idea to the moment, which is probably one of the hardest moments that a lot of entrepreneurs have, is saying, okay, I'm actually going to do this thing, and then kind of what's led to where it is now?
Sure. So I would say the beginning it just was an idea. So it just started with, I think I'm going to help other women just like me. So that was a thought, and it was actually a conversation between me and a high school friend, and we were both like 19, 20, just having a random conversation, and I was like, that's a great idea. Like, that is an amazing idea, and it kind of just went from there. So it was just one piece to one piece and just connected that way. So after I had the idea, her and I stopped talking, but I just kept continuing to move forward with that idea. And I started reaching out. What I did was actually I went on the internet and I researched, and it was just simple Google search, how to start a nonprofit. So I got all this information, and then I was like, okay, this isn't difficult. I can do this. So it tells you to like create a name. So I'm like, well, what name would I have? And Young Mothers Inc. came to me. So it's Young Mothers. But I think when I Googled Young Mothers and if it was taken, I think, online. There was so somebody bought, I guess, the URL or whatever it's called for Young Mothers. So I was like, well, I can't do that. So I was like, all right, Young Mothers Inc., because it's going to be a corporation. So it kind of just flowed from there. I wanted to just help people. So that's really, I had to really focus on what's my purpose. Why am I here? Why, what am I doing other than just working for myself? And I realized that I'm here to help other people. So, and that really is what brings me joy. It brings me joy to share information with people or to help people. And I know that it's not something where I'm going to automatically get something in return. So I just kept with that. It's a passion of mine to want to help and want to give whatever I can. So just continue with that. I reached out to a couple of organizations. I think our first organization, like-minded organizations, was Sasha Bruce. So I was like, let me see what they're doing. So I reached out and I told them I wanted to volunteer. And I don't think that went anywhere because I didn't have like a website at the time. I didn't have a business email. I think the first email I ever created was like a live account. So I was like, all right, I'm going to email them with my live account, and I'm going to see how it works and how it goes. And so they responded. They were nice, but nothing really came of it. So I was like, okay, let me go back and focus on what I need to do in order to solidify this organization, solidify what I want to do. So I created the mission, and the mission hasn't really changed over the 7 years, so I'm super happy about that. It just really it kind of got critiqued a little bit just because we wanted to solidify that as well. So, but the mission is the same. It's just I think more clearer. So just working on that and having to really iron out what my purpose was. So created bylaws, created the things that the website, you go do Google search, you get so much information, but that was consistent. You have to do bylaws. You have to have an articles of incorporation if you're incorporated. So just getting that information, I had to get an EIN number, and I had to get things because with that EIN number, you're able to do more as far as business-wise. So you're able to claim taxes and get money back that you've actually spent for your business. So that was very interesting to me. I went to school for accounting, so I'm like, oh, I can write this off. I can write off my expenses. So I was super happy about that too. So just really learning more about what I needed to do in order to solidify the Young Mothers Inc. name was very important to me. So that's just how it kind of formed. Just reaching out to other like-minded organizations and wanting to partner and building those community relationships also.
That's great. That's really impressive. And you would say, so you were really like leading that front, that you were kind of, it was a one-man show for a while, getting all of that set up, would you say?
Definitely a one-man show. It's been really difficult to give up a lot of responsibility to other people. So that was a huge challenge for me, is allowing someone to have more or similar responsibility as me, because it's my baby. Like, I feel like this organization is my baby. I love Young Mothers Inc. so much, and I've realized, I would say a couple of years now, I can't do it all by myself. And that actually shares into my personal life, too. I used to feel like, okay, I'm a superwoman, I can do it all. And it's not, you shouldn't feel like that. It's okay to be confident, but when you actually put all that stress on yourself, you're really not helping anybody, and you're not helping yourself. So you're really just putting all that stress on yourself and really putting yourself in a situation where you won't be able to grow. So I had to kind of swallow a lot of my pride and really be like, okay, I can get other people to help. I'm okay with that. So just really growing in that, and growing and saying, I need people, and it's okay. It's okay to need other people. And I had to learn that, because my family and my mom was a single mom. So her, she raised me. So I'm like her. I can do it all. It's okay. I don't need anybody. But that's not okay. It's not okay to feel that way. So just growing in that. So I'm excited about Young Mothers Inc. I'm excited about all the changes. I'm excited about all of my volunteers. Oh my gosh. So you guys are amazing. And I have to keep saying that, because I couldn't do any of this without you guys. And I'm just looking forward to more that we're going to accomplish.
Yeah, it's definitely a really great group of people, and I think everyone's got the same sort of passion behind the work that they're doing, right? So the same why that drives you, I think, is maybe manifested in those volunteers as well. Simon Sinek has a book that says start with the why, and he basically says if you start every action that you do for your organization or your project or, a group that you're creating, if you start every action you have, or any person that you hire, you figure out if their why, their reason for doing it is the same as yours, then you will have success no matter how big or how small you are, because your mission's genuine, and, you're doing what you want to do and are passionate for, and there's a need for it. So I think that this is definitely a special group that kind of has that all in their minds when they go to work each day, I think. But thinking, I guess, of a challenge, maybe one was a personal challenge of having to maybe give up a little bit of responsibility and let other people take the wheel. What was maybe one of the biggest challenges that you faced through this kind of starting up process and to where it is now?
I would say the biggest challenge is finding funding or asking people to give money. It's not easy. Again, goes back to me being raised by a single mom and being a young mom. I want to do this by myself. So I was starting with funding it myself and putting all of my extra income into the organization. So that was one of the biggest challenges is having it so you are able to ask donors for money, and it's a big thing. I mean, there's $1 million companies that are nonprofit organizations. So understanding that was the biggest challenge in learning how to ask, and it's just asking, and it's really that simple. So I think learning that was the biggest challenge, and what my vision is for Young Mothers Inc., honestly, as far as funding goes, is creating programs and events, and more so I would say programs where it's generating its own income, and it's not something where we have to continue to, again, depend on the government. Even the organization, I want us to all have that same thought process as far as creating and generating income through programs and how we're supporting the community. And that's the challenge, is finding sponsors and those type of things. So I would say that's just the biggest challenge I've found since doing this. And it's really not the people. I think finding volunteers, I kind of think we have that down pat. So, yeah, it's definitely funding for us.
Yeah. Definitely an ongoing journey where you learn, every step of the way you're learning a little bit more about how to do it a little better, maybe a way not to do it next time, and, it unfolds that way, I suppose. But a good journey, right? Kind of like our own personal journeys that we take. I'm curious, thinking about this process and the transformation that I guess you have had both as a business owner and working all of the ins and outs around it out, but then also kind of from a personal level, the transformation of kind of feeling like you might be in the back seat, just taking things as they come, to now sort of being in that front seat and driving the outcomes that you want. What is maybe the biggest takeaway from this process? Maybe less so entrepreneurially, but maybe it can be, but maybe, more personally about yourself. What have you found about yourself going through this and coming out on the other end?
The biggest takeaway, I would say is just learning how to take time for myself. So I'm really big on, again, doing a lot. I love to help, I love to learn, and then I have a full-time job. So I think that understanding how to just say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to do it. Today I'm going to spend time with my children, or today I'm going to just maybe take a nap. Learning how to say, I've done enough today. It's time, I'll make sure I do it tomorrow. So learning that was good for me. And then also really being able to manage my calendar. So I would miss so many meetings, and I would be all over the place. So the biggest takeaway there is learning how to manage my calendar. I even have in there, so I go to church, so I'm a Christian, but I don't consistently go. So I have to, so one of the things my pastor said was, you schedule everything else. You put everything else in your calendar. And she was like, you need to save some time for God. So I was like, okay, that's a great idea. So I put in there every day from 9 to 9:15 a.m., time with God. That's what it says in my calendar. So just really learning how to manage my time, and also trying to just take some time for myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very important. I mean, to have such a balance, to be successful, you need to be balanced in it all. Was your ability to manage your calendar, do you think it just came with practice of having multiple responsibilities? Was it that you maybe were more passionate about some of the responsibilities you were taking on and so were more attentive to it? What was that transition kind of spurred from?
I would say epic fails. So mine was more so of having to manage the calendar because I started doing so much that I couldn't keep up with it. So really just being bad at it, honestly. So I was terrible. At some point, I was terrible at, at some point I was really bad at keeping appointments because I wouldn't have, and also setting reminders. Oh, my God. Set reminders. Because if you have a day, and you cannot, you have back to back to back, or you just so much going on in general, the reminder saves your life. So I think failing at not being on time for stuff definitely helped me be more successful with the calendar, because now, and it's probably a bad thing now, I think I rely more on my calendar than I do my phone. So I'm checking my calendar on my computer, I'm checking it on my phone, and I'm making sure that I'm consistent, because I've actually lost people that I wanted to either do business with or wanted to volunteer. People don't want to deal with that. So if you miss a meeting, some people don't even want you to schedule another one. They're over it. So I think even in entrepreneurial-wise, you have to be consistent and you have to manage your time well, or you'll miss opportunities. So
that's very good advice, for sure. Thinking about your calendar, I know you said you've mentioned, church and having some time with your kids. Do you have anything this upcoming week that's for you, a fun thing that's for you on your calendar, or this month?
One fun thing. But you caught me off guard there. Let me think. What fun thing? So, let me think. No, honestly, I told you I was doing the certifying to do good, like, life insurance. I want to be, like, a certified life insurance person, only because there's so much money in that. So, side note, doing this learning financial stuff is one of the largest grossing professions. So, but you don't have to work 9 to 5. Like, you can actually go and do, get certified and being able to offer life insurance policies. And because everything is going on so much right now, people are really concerned about life insurance and their life and wills and all of this stuff. So I've been learning about that. And actually what I've been doing is just like playing the videos that I have from taking a class. So I have to take a test at the end of the month. So get this, the guy offered me, if I get my certification, he offered me $500 to test at the end of the month. I was like, okay, cool. That's all I need to know. Let me start now.
Yeah.
So that's really what I've been focusing on. And so I just listen, like if I'm on the computer, I'll play the video recordings of this woman talking. She actually has a great voice, because if she didn't, I would not even be understanding what's going on. So it's a really good class, and I just play it in the background. So I would say that's fun to me. So maybe that's boring to other people, but that's fun. I want to see if I can get that $500 at the end of the month. So what else am I doing? I've been playing tennis with my son. So my mom and my son. So that's been pretty cool. I haven't taken any actual classes, but I think I'm pretty good at it. I feel like I'm pretty good at it. So
there you go. That's awesome. That is really cool. Yeah, I am not good at tennis, so I'm sure you have me beat on that front. But that's awesome. Very cool. Well, it's clear, you have a passion and a vision for what you do kind of in all aspects of your life. And it seems like you've gotten the system down and you're working it out. Do you have some maybe words of wisdom or a message for maybe young women out there who might be struggling to find that sense of balance or that sense of identity right now?
I would say my biggest advice to someone who is looking or can't, or is lost or maybe is having some challenges right now, I would say cut out all of the things that's either distracting to you or you feel isn't bringing you positive energy. And that could be family, that could be friends. I would say don't hold on to anything that's not helping you grow. And if you do that, you'll propel so much further. I think all of us, I can speak on myself, I think at some point I was like, oh, well, this is my friend, or this is someone I'm close with or grew up with, but you really have to determine if this is a friendship or relationship that's giving you joy and bringing you life and energy, positive energy. So whatever is not helping you grow or making you money or helping you in any kind of way, don't do it. Cut it off. And focus on yourself and what makes you happy and what you like to do.
That's awesome. That's really good advice.
Yeah.
We definitely want to leave some time so that everyone in the chat here can have a nice little discussion or have a little Q&A time with you. But before we do that, can you let us know how people can get involved, either with YMI's mission or help support us and push that mission forward?
Of course. So you guys, please get involved. If you're a volunteer, if you go to volunteermatch.org and search Young Mothers, Inc., we have a lot of opportunity for you to be a part of our mission. If you are someone who wants to partner, please contact us directly. We have really great opportunities for someone who wants to be able to put on events and partner with us and who shares our mission, who shares our support for education and nurturing young mothers. And women's empowerment, we're big on that. So any event that you have an idea about that you want to share with us, we have opportunities for that. Board members, if you feel like you want to be a part of us as a board member, we are open for that as well. And programs, I mean, if you are someone who really has a knack for speaking, or you do yoga, or you do maybe self-defense, because I really want to take a self-defense class. So anyone who can see self-defense, I actually want my children to be a part of that too. So if you're anyone who's involved in health and wellness or education, please reach out to us. You can donate if you just want to be a donor. Donorbox.org, I think it is, donorbox.org. I think the tag is, okay, donorbox.org/Young Mothers Inc. We're Cash App, Young Mothers Inc. If you want to do that. We're on all social media, Young Mothers Inc. I think there are so many different opportunities for anyone who's interested to be involved. And just reach out to us. I mean, we are also admin@youngmothersinc.com. You can email us. Yeah. Did I cover everything, Brooke, or did I miss anything?
Yeah, I think so. It's a very tailorable volunteer experience or way to get involved. So that's always really, really cool. You know, people can get involved in the level and using the skills that are best suited for them to do what they want to do to help us do this thing. And also, like, participants, if you guys know anyone who you think would just benefit from being a part of our programs and getting those resources, please share our information with them as well.
Yeah, we have a makeup artist contest. So we're doing events throughout the month where you can also be involved and get involved. So if you're someone who loves to do makeup and you want to support the cause, it's $5 to enter. Anyone on the line or anyone who's watching, if you know someone, please share our flyers. Please share the information. What else are we doing? We have a lot of initiatives, a lot of sponsorship initiatives, newsletters. If you want to know what's going on, you can't make up your mind yet, please sign up for the newsletter. It goes out a few times a month, so you'll be connected with that as well.
That's great. Do we want to give them a little sneak peek of the influencer package, or should we save them?
We can save it. Are we going to show them what's going to be in there, what we're sending them in the mail? I'm excited about that.
Yeah. I think everyone here is now signed up for the in-mail launch package that will be delivered to your house, and I think Camille might have some sneak peek previews here.
Yes. So we can't give you guys too much, okay? It's a nice box. It's pretty. See? Okay. So this will be waiting. This will be sent to you guys in the mail. I'm excited about that. Can you hear me, Brooke?
Yeah. I think you're on a little bit of a delay, but I can hear you.
Okay. What about now? Sorry.
Better.
Okay.
It might be delayed again. Maybe you guys will just have to wait to get your preview until it gets delivered.
I showed it. I thought I showed it. Maybe not, huh?
It may have showed, and it could be my end lagging. I'm not sure. But
I don't know.
But either way, there are some really awesome goodies that you guys will be getting in the mail. If we do not have your address, we will reach out to you just to confirm that we've got the right one, and you will get to celebrate our relaunching with us for 2020. But before we wrap up, we just wanted to kind of open up the floor. I know we've got some past volunteers or people who are involved in similar missions with their own pursuits, and just wanted to open the floor if there are any questions or comments or story sharing that you guys want to reserve the last few minutes for up in here.
I think I saw some. Oh. Oh, they're reading. If you want to read the comments, I don't think know if anyone has questions yet. Well, while you're doing that, this was what I was showing. Can you see it? You can see it now, can't you? Or you can't see it. Oh, here it is. You can see it now. All right. So, I was showing it on the wrong camera. I'm so sorry. So this is what we'll be sending. So we're not going to open the box, but this is so pretty. I thought it was amazing for everyone, and it really just symbolizes how we, as an organization, how we grow. So we thought that it would be a great gift for everyone. So I'm excited about that. You guys will love it. So did you have any, is there any questions? Did you want to?
I don't think we have any. I don't think we have any questions, but we have lots of messages of support. Michelle says, I've learned from Camille, and she has taught me a lot. I am here and loving her. And Tanya says, it's been amazing being a part of this growth. Camille is a fighter, a loyal friend, and an amazing visionary.
Oh, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you. Okay, so no questions? Oh. Okay. I think we have a question.
We've got one question coming in. What is the biggest challenge for the organization as it relaunches, either internally or externally? So with the work that we've been doing on the back end, is there a challenge that we've had to go through here?
So there have been a couple of challenges. I would say challenges would be just really building the infrastructure as far as solidifying a lot of internal support. So with the volunteers, there's a lot that we have to do or have had to do. We've created volunteer orientation. We've created opportunities for volunteers to connect and just really supporting the internal culture. I would say the volunteer culture has grown. At one point, it was very difficult for us to keep volunteers, and we couldn't understand why that was. So just really strengthening that internal support and understanding what volunteers need and what they want and what they like and what they don't like, and really giving them the opportunity to let us know has been a great way to counteract that those efforts. So, and what was the other question? Sorry.
Another question we have is, what is your favorite YMI moment so far? It might be tough.
Favorite YMI moment? So many. I would say that's hard. Favorite YMI moment? I would say meeting, I wouldn't say it's a moment, I would say it's a collective of moments, just being able to connect with the volunteers, learning where they come from, their background, and having them be a part of the mission and the growth, I think is my favorite part. So I'm always meeting someone who's really supportive and interested and wanting to know more and wanting to help. And I think honestly, my moment is, the favorite moment for me is when someone tells me I'm wrong, because I'm like, I know this is right. Like, I'm the person that has to be right. I just have to. So when people come on board and they're like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work. So this, and this is wrong, it's enjoyable to me because that helps me grow. So I just think I know. Now I know this. I got this. And they're like, yeah, no, you don't have it. This is wrong. So I think to me that's awesome because to me that shows people aren't. It doesn't matter what your goals are or what your mission is, and people. I love learning from other people. So just people having those type of moments with me and being able to help me grow is important.
That's great. That's really awesome. It's definitely like a very open environment that I think lends to learning both, you know, from the participant side and then also internally with the people that you're working with, which is the end goal, I guess, with everything, right?
Yeah, and it helps the organization grow. I feel like we want people to come on board and we want you guys' expertise. So you are the outsiders, so to speak, not saying it in that way, but you're the people who are coming on board and seeing certain things that may be wrong or that may need to be fixed or that needs to be nurtured. So giving that advice and that support and that expertise helps the organization as a whole. It's not just me.
Definitely. We have a third question coming in. What is your vision for the organization, whether that be growing nationally or internationally, having chapters? Do you see it growing in years to come?
Absolutely. I think that my vision for the organization is just to not be in D.C., in the D.C. area. My vision is to have a Young Mothers, Inc. in Michigan, in California, and, you know, wherever we can, because there's young mothers everywhere. It's not just in this area, and there's so many opportunities for influencers to be a part of our mission and create those chapters in other states, in other areas, other countries. So I definitely think that this is something that can be national. I think this is a need that we are servicing, and I know it is. So I definitely want that to be, and tomorrow, you know, every day is a learning, every day is a stepping stone for us. So this is where we are 7 years from now. I think that in 5 years, we will be so much further and as far as the programs and what we're servicing. And I feel like the organization is going to be self-sufficient and not just here in D.C., everywhere.
Yeah, I'd say very promising to have you behind the wheel and very promising group of volunteers and board members and supporters that we've got thus far. So I know I'm really excited to see everything that unveils itself in the next year and years to come, and I'm sure, you know, you are as well. And I think that's all the questions we have, but it's been awesome to hear from you about everything. Yeah.
I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much. This was a really good kickoff of our program, so stay tuned. We're going to have so much more, so many opportunities. I know we have someone who's in, I think he's in Michigan, Joel Jones, who's a state representative, so he's really great. We have, who do we have for yoga? Our yoga session that we're doing?
Erica Baca, who is a certified yoga instructor within the D.C. area. She'll be coming hopefully within the next month or so on to do a free yoga class, and then also just speak a little bit more about personal wellness and having some time for yourself. Joel Jones will be on later on this month. And we have Natasha Carter, who is a licensed therapist who will come and speak specifically around the experience of women and confidence building and just self-empowerment practices and what that looks like to practice on a day-to-day level. So we've got awesome stuff coming up, and I hope you guys can join for this too.
Yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, the Black Lives Matter one is going to be really great as well. So that's what Joel Jones is going to be doing. We're hoping to maybe have a launch party, maybe 2021. So we're trying to do a lot and hoping you guys can be a part of it. So yeah, sounds good.
Awesome.
Well, have a good night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Everyone will get a wrap-up email with all the info, and make sure you show off your cool rose and package on social media and tag us when you get it at your home.
Yeah. So, yeah, social media and then our website, youngmothersinc.org. Yep. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Everyone have a good evening.
Good night. Thank you for having us. Bye, I don't know how to hang up.